defending champion Equalizer and Awesome Kong. Coming up next on Trucks and Tractor Power. Monster Truck Racing indoors. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the National Network. I'm Gary Lee alongside Rich Hooser. We're in the Civic Center in Roanoke, Virginia. And Rich, we've talked about the driver expertise coming off the starting line. We're at the finish line in a building with the floor about the size of a hockey rink. And that means the shutoff area is very, very small, and that will create a problem.
That's true, Gary. Now, of course, in Monster Truck Racing, rule of thumb is if you get out of shape, power out of it to keep from flipping over or causing any damage to your truck. But here we got another problem. We got a wall not 50 feet from the finish line, so this is going to have these guys test their driving ability to see whether or not they can keep their truck under control to keep from either flipping over or hitting that wall.
Well, the third member of the broadcast crew is Army Armstrong. He'll be joining us momentarily as we return to the Civic Center in Roanoke, Virginia. We have a capacity crowd in the Roanoke Civic Center for monster truck competition. Although the actual competition has yet to begin, these fans have seen a lot of action so far in qualifying. Let's go back to earlier this evening. This is the qualification run with USA 1 and Whisky Business. Now watch what happens to Steve Wilkie in USA 1.
Let me explain what happened here. Now, Steve Wilkie had a good run going. They want to have a fast time in qualifying. For one thing, it's more money, plus you get lane choice. But he just overdid it a little too much. He got excited at the end, because watch right here, when his back end comes up like that, he got a little crooked. Okay, he got a little excited right there, and he hit the brakes, and that's what caused him just to flip it end over end. But Steve is okay. He's crawling out of the vehicle, and he's fine.
Well, of course, all these monster trucks have the full cage to protect the driver. As we look once again, we talked about this short runoff area. As the truck gets up on the nose, the rule of thumb is stay on the power. He gets on the brakes, and there is the end result. Damage to USA 1. Once again, the driver, Steve Wilkie, is okay. All right, now it's time for our runoff. We take a look at Equalizer. There is David Morris. David, only 23 years of age, driving Equalizer, and there's John Kwasniewski in the Buffalo Tremor.
Of course, these vehicles take a lot of abuse out here, Gary. For one, Equalizer, as you can see right there in his fender, okay, that's a lot from the suspension working and that tire coming up and hitting that. Now, USA 1 flipped over. He's going to be out of the competition for tonight.
Side-by-side competition, a lot of air under Equalizer, and oh, more damage to the right front as David Morris wins. But the question now, can he continue?
It doesn't look real good from down here. He come across that last car, and right there when he bounced up, he got too high, and it landed crooked. And when it landed on that right front tire, he just broke the complete A-frame out from underneath the vehicle. Now, here's a good shot. You're going to be able to see what actually happens, and you'll be able to see the spring, which is part of the suspension, just hanging there where it breaks off at the bottom. Right there, you see a lot of smoke and everything, and you see the yellow coil just bobbling back and forth.
Now, this is the same suspension problem, or not the same problem, but you had problems with the suspension last week. Could this be a result of just how tough it is on these suspensions?
No, I think what the problem is, the A-frame underneath is built is out of just a little bit too light of material, and it folded it up just then.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Well, this monster truck challenge was never meant to be a demolition derby, but Rich Hooser, we're seeing one this evening in Roanoke.
They're taking a lot of abuse down here, Gary.
Here's the Liquidator, and he goes up against one of the more unusual-looking trucks, Bob Breen in the Mad Dog.
And the Mad Dog is part of the Breen Boys Racing Toys. They have 3 vehicles. John's bringing the new vehicle out later on this year, plus this truck and Whisky Business.
Not much competition right there as Breen got the whole shot and had a sizable lead at the finish line.
Now, Liquidator's a little underpowered here. He's only running a single carburetor on a 460 engine.
This is just one of those nights when everything seems to be kind of spooky. Does that bother your driving style at all?
Well, it'll make you stop and think a little bit about how you're going to come out of the hole and how you're going to attack the course itself entirely different. Like we watched USA 1 run over that last round, and that really make you stop and wonder, now, do I want to try to come out like he did, or do you want to feather it out of the hole, get on top of the hump, and then hammer it like I did here?
That seemed to work for you. You going to keep that same thing going in the next round?
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna make them earn every round.
Well, certainly the smaller building providing quite a challenge for these monster truck drivers as we take a look at Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher, a real crowd favorite here in Roanoke. A good shot inside the cockpit. And now the wild hair of Marvin Smith out of Arnold, Missouri, in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, Arnold, Missouri is just right outside of St. Louis. Marvin's a good friend of mine, and he does a real good job here, but Carolina Crusher has a little bit more experience. He's an excellent driver behind the wheel of that monster truck.
And 28-year-old Gary Porter really skies on that one.
Gary, he did a great job of driving. Watch how he gets a lot of air on that vehicle. That's because he put the hammer down right after he gets over the hill.
Everybody's trying to figure the hot hand out tonight. We talked to you earlier in the day about the way you drive with the transmission and actually shifted. Did you shift on that run?
Yeah, as soon as my front wheels got down to the bottom of the hill, I shifted to second gear and, just let the truck do the rest.
Is that going to be the way to do it tonight?
I think it will be. I'm lining up further to the right than anybody else in that lane, and I think I got it figured out.
Here's a look at Whiskey Business. Ken Deppy, the driver, with the big block Chevrolet engine, the 454, and he goes up against, by far, the skinniest truck on the circuit, only 44 inches wide. Awesome Kong Steve Cain out of the Lone Star State of Texas.
Now, this is going to be a bit of a mismatch, I think, because Steve Cain is an excellent driver. He's been behind the wheel of Awesome Kong for quite some time now. Ken Deppy's new in this, but he's doing one great job.
And Awesome Kong takes the victory, and I would have to think the short runoff area, it will be very intimidating this evening.
It is. Now, as you notice, Awesome Kong just gave it enough just to win. He knew he had an advantage over Whiskey Business, so he didn't have to go all out.
Well, here's Jerry Wiggins and Mopar Magic with the Dodge power plant, and the guy with the handlebar mustache and a black hat, Bennett Clark. He at one time fought the bulls in the rodeo, and I'd say driving a monster truck must feel like you're fighting a bull out there.
It's pretty much the same feeling I can imagine. I've never been on a bull, but I've been in a monster truck many years, so I know what that feels like.
So we have the Clydesdale and Mopar Magic. And trouble right away at the starting line for Wiggins and Mopar Magic. What was all that liquid we saw?
They were getting hot sitting outside waiting to come in. I think he just blew his radiator cap off now. His engine is in front, but he's got his radiator in the rear of the truck.
And Bennett Clark goes on to victory in the Clydesdale.
Okay, Bennett, on the run a minute ago, a lot of liquid was coming out of the vehicle, out of your vehicle and out of Gary's vehicle. What was that?
Oh, well, we got them a little hot in qualifying. We had to sit out there. The truck ahead of us had a little trouble, and we sat out there and ran a little bit. So I think everything's okay.
How does the truck feel to you? It looks awfully good.
The truck feels like it's running good. We're getting a good run in the flat in between the cars. I think we'll go to the end on this one.
By far, one of the most popular trucks anywhere, the 1950 Chevrolet panel truck called the Gravedigger. Here is Dennis Anderson. He goes up against Rarig in Thunder Chicken.
Gary, I have to mention something. I was down here talking to Dennis earlier. He was working on his truck. He's got a broken rear axle. He did that in qualifying and was not able to get it fixed, so he's only running on front-wheel drive.
And you can see the difference as the Thunder Chicken picks up the victory over the hobbled Dennis Anderson in Gravedigger.
And one thing, when you only have two-wheel drive, especially in the front, Dennis wasn't going to run it real hard. Just take it nice and easy.
We have time to head to the concession stand as we take a break and come back for second round action in Roanoke. Stay with us.